Right, so I'm not flying yet, which means that I can look around and go, okay, there's the airport, and there's the pattern. Does that help? It's nice that I can pull that up. Right. All right, so here we go. We're going to get started with the sim. Okay, so first thing first, right? Make sure this thing is looking good. All the lines attached. Am I flying straight in the first place? Right. Then I'm going to reach up, grab my toggles. I'm going to pull them down, and then I'm going to release and see that the pitch actually responds. Right. I can look forward and see my nose come up. I can also see the parachute move back, and I'll feel a weight gain if I actually flare fast enough. Right. That weight gain is an indication that the flare worked. That I leveled off. Does it turn left? Yes. Looks good. Any traffic off to the right? Nope. Let's see if it turns right. And does it fly straight after when I gain that speed? Right? If I do a big turn and then stop, it may oversteer a little, but then it should stop turning. See if there's a difference to the right and to the left. Alright, so that all looks good. Now looking down at the ground, I'm near the river, and I'm getting closer to the drop zone, so I should probably turn away, face into the wind so I don't pass the drop zone. Right? So I did a lot of dicking around facing with the wind. I shouldn't have done that, because if I check my ground track, right, that's where I am. I'm just barely moving across the ground. See, the white dot is where I am. And if I lift my eyes, my glide angle's not that good. I mean, I can make it over to the campground, but just barely. So because I'm in a 14 knot headwind, I can go, only a short distance in that heading. But if I do a 180, where can I go? See the dot out there in the distance, right? Big difference in my glide angle. A lot of ground speed. If I turn 90 degrees to the wind line, I'm sliding to my right because it's still pretty windy. And at this point, my projected landing point will be off the end of that arrow. That's going to be over here somewhere. There it is, way over there. Right, so it's off to my right. Right, just lifting my eyes straight ahead, I'm sliding to my right. If I added some brakes, I would slide even more. Further in the distance, but off to my, there we go. That's where I'm going. Further to the right. Now again, brakes off, that's where I'm going. So the other thing I think is extremely helpful is to see the relative wind. So right now I'm facing into the relative wind. Well, sorry, I'm facing into the wind. I'm always facing into the relative wind unless uncoordinated flight. But the bubbles are coming from like the river, right? That's where the relative wind angle is. My 2.5 to 1 glide or 3 to 1 glide. In this case, it's like 2.2 is the engineering of this model. But below that is where I'm actually going to land, right? So relative glide is the green dot. All right. So now I was teaching, but I should have been flying my canopy because it's 1,000 feet. What am I going to do? I think it's great that I screwed up. Because now I can show what you might do in the event that you're out of position at 1,000 feet. Well, I can float in the brakes to reduce descent rate. I'm sliding kind of where I want to go, more or less. I mean, I'm barely going down. And I'm just going to make little turns to change where I'm headed to. Let's look at the destination point. Up to the right. Well, I could go really far away because I'm in the brakes in the downwind heading. So now I'm looking okay. If I let him up, I think I can probably get pretty close to the line that I wanted. But since I'm a little low, I'm going to need to maybe cut to the inside of the pattern, at least the beginning part of the pattern, and not go for that first pattern point, right? So I'm going to intercept a little bit here, right? So because I can't make it to the 900-foot mark, I'm going to intercept the line here. So now I'm just making my little corrections so that I fly the line that I want. Looking for traffic. Here comes the otter. Now, I'm going to start my turn now because there is enough wind that I need to turn more than 90. So I'm going to turn a little too early. I can always turn right and create a little bit more distance, right? But if I turn late from downwind to base, I can find myself too far away. I'm going to go a little right and then I'm going to go left. And let's see what this does. Well, that's all right. That's acceptable, huh? Especially considering when I flare, I'm going to float a little, right? Lift the eyes, look forward. Flare. Oh, I was 2 feet from the target. How horrible. And think about it, right? I really screwed up because I was goofing around all the way down to here. It's like 1,200 feet. I wanted to be at a very specific place, but I was, talking about relative wind and all that. So I still managed to float it in the brakes, get to the position that I wanted, cut off the corner, and here at 700 feet, I was more or less at the line that I wanted to be. And it worked out fine. And I flew a pretty, relatively square pattern, but I went away a little. Remember? Because I knew there was some wind. I started this turn a little prematurely. That's fine. I've held my position. I can always turn right to create the space if I've got too much altitude. And then I bring it on in. Bonk. Cool. How you feeling? You guys breathing big and slowly?